Hi everyone, it's Raina. So this video is from Mercury in Leo. Mercury is the planet of communication. It's the way that you express yourself as well as how you perceive or take in the information that others are providing or from other sources, the way your mind works, the way, if you're reading a book, how you process that information that you're reading. And it can be also the kind of thoughts that you have and things like that. And Leo is a fixed fire sign. So all fire signs are naturally going to be creative. They're going to be enthusiastic about whatever it is that they're doing. In this case, it's speaking and, expressing themselves. And with Leo, it's going to be taken even up a notch because Leo is associated with performance or theater. So the speech can be larger than life. It can be exaggerated. It can be dramatic speech or dramatic delivery of anything. You've heard that expression about really great actors that they can, or actresses, they can read a phone book and it sounds amazing. You could listen to them read a phone book. Of course, nowadays, we don't even have phone books, do we? It sounds kind of old-fashioned to use that term, but you know what I mean. So these people can take mundane conversations and inject some real kind of pizzazz into them. And this makes the Mercury and Leo person a natural for the stage, theater, as well as the political arena and sales. And on the negative side, or the challenging side, people who are grifters, people who are con artists, who are trying to sell you something that is a lie, or trying to get something from somebody, but they're like kind of, I think I used this term before, gilding the lily. And because Mercury itself can be associated with I think what I read was that Mercury protects the con artist, but to me, Mercury is sleight of hand. I mean, it could be, the person who is a pickpocket, I'm saying a negative manifestation of that. So I don't know if it's just that Mercury protects these kinds of people. I think there might be some kind of direct connection with Mercury and some of those less than honorable activities. But in any case, this combination can lead to somebody who can really dress up, you could say polish a turd, right? That sort of thing. But I mean, dress up something that is not true. And that's why, yay, politicians, right? Perfect. So Leo, and I would wager that we could say the same about all natal Mercury in fire energy is opinionated. And because I know that I just did Mercury in Sagittarius for this type of reading, and they said the same thing. And being a Mercury in Sagittarius, I know that I am opinionated. And I think, and I'm sure the same is true for Mercury in Aries. I think one of the reasons why is that fire energy is very self-oriented, individualistic, and wants to inject themselves, their own way of, their view on things on others, or impose them on others. Actually, I used the word inject because I wrote down that Mercury in Leo opinionated in order to inject themselves into everything so that they can have that, be that center of attention. But yeah, I mean, that could be true about being the center of attention, but I also think it's just in general about this idea of being able to talk about oneself. So that the self-centered thing is that you view the world based upon your own experiences and your own ideas. I don't feel that that's necessarily bad, because if somebody is, let's say, a motivational speaker, they can tell their own experiences and how they triumphed over some of their challenges. So you have to bring up those things. To me, that's a positive way of utilizing this. The problem becomes when somebody gives advice that isn't warranted, that wasn't asked for. And we all know those types of people. And there's an arrogance. And I didn't see the word arrogance when I was looking up this particular sign, but I dare say that can be very off-putting. That the Mercury and Leo person might even think that they have all the answers because they're so fabulous. And they are fabulous. But we have to, one of the things about being self-centered is you don't realize that other people may have different ways of perceiving life and different talents, different backgrounds, and that what works for you might not work for them. And it's okay to draw from your own experiences. Just don't have such a me mentality that you don't realize that other people come from different experiences. And so, talk about yourself, but respect others at the same time. This is a great placement for people who can stand on stage and generate information on the spot. Now, they mentioned stand-up comedians because this person can be very humorous. Remember that Leo is the fifth house in the astrological chart, and the fifth house is first and foremost about fun, about enjoyment, about pleasure. And so anything that brings a smile to our faces, probably falls in the fifth house. It's also the house of children, of love, and things like that. Now, so laughing is something, humor is something that we do as kind of like a result of joy. You're not going to be laughing if you're miserable. So that really connects with that fifth house. So they can go on stage, and if you think about it, like somebody who is a stand-up comedian or other type of public speaker, yes, they may have their spiel that they've already memorized, but they can improvise. And so that can make them really great, maybe even like sketch artists, where there is a lot of improvisation. And, I live in the Chicago area, and we have Second City, and that was a, famous improvisation. It is a famous group. And that kind of thing is really something that would be enjoyable for these people because they love that idea of being creative and of also stepping out of themselves and assuming this other role, because it kind of is expansive, which is fire energy too. Now, and storytelling, they mentioned about storytelling, which is basically talking about your experiences. Now, again, they may gild the lily, they may exaggerate, and as long as they are aware that they are kind of embellishing for the purpose of greater entertainment value, that's one thing. But if they're doing it trying to convey something that is not true, then it veers off into kind of conning people. So you got to be careful that everybody knows that this is fiction, or at least autobiographical fiction. But definitely, if they are a speaker, they can motivate others in positive ways, and that's always a good thing, and that could even be parlayed into a career. But they could be overly dramatic. So in other words, craving that drama that comes from talking to others, and maybe if you get the Mercury and Leo person who is a covert narcissist, they could even be, woe is me, really dramatizing all of their problems. And, again, what does that give them? It gives them attention. And so any type of attention-seeking behaviors can be on the negative side as well, and that hurts the Mercury and Leo person, because if you're in a position where you're trying to garner attention via pity, then you have to play the part of the victim, and that is not an empowered place to be in life. So it kind of like puts the person in a sort of a prison where they are forced to be somebody who is always having problems. And, I don't think that there might be too many Mercury and Leo people that would do this. Maybe if their sun is in Cancer. Let's talk about that. Because typically the Leo energy, because it is fire, is more independent, and Leo is proud. So I can't see many Leo people, Mercury and Leo people, necessarily complaining about their lives because they want to give the impression that they're fabulous, right? But if the sun is in Cancer, that could increase the likelihood of this sort of pattern, because Cancer is a water sign, remember, and Cancer is about nurturing, but Cancer wants to be nurtured too. So by over-dramatizing their problems, the Cancer person can manipulate others, guilt others into paying more attention to them, helping them in some way. And they may be more comfortable with doing those kinds of things than, let's say, a Sun in Leo individual. Also, a Sun in Cancer person can really be quite creative too, because Cancer, being a water sign, can also be a sign associated with creativity and of different forms. And even like, for instance, I think all water signs are very adept at theater because they can kind of channel different characters. If you think about it, some of our best actors and actresses, I refuse to call female theater people actors, which is the push, like it's somehow I can't say the word diminutive to say the word actress, that it makes a woman seem inferior, and I refuse to accept that. There's my opinion. There's me being opinionated. So you think about the best actors and actresses, and they channel roles. They they disappear into the role, and they are not, they don't have this real personality on their own. Some of the actors and actresses that we know that are famous have like a certain persona that they bring to all of their movies, and they really are playing the same. They're playing themselves in different movies, and people enjoy it because they like their personalities, and that's okay too. But the ones that really get into the roles, I think they may, the sun in Cancer is great for that. Now, if your sun is in Leo, then it really enhances the drama, the dramatic tendencies. And watch out for stubborn opinions, too, because that's one thing I should have said. This is a fixed sign. So all fixed Mercury signs may have their own opinions about things that are very hard to shift. If your sun sign is in Virgo, it may give you much more of a flair when it comes to your speaking style. Think about Virgo. Virgos are like secretaries, or that's why I say like office managers, I think they call them now instead of secretaries. Or just a researcher, an analyst, or something like that. Very dry, very much in the mind, and very detail-oriented. But this Mercury is going to give you pizzazz. And it could be the stray Virgo who goes into the theater because they just have these great skills. So let me see if there's anything I missed here. I wrote down a whole bunch of stuff. I mentioned about children being part of the fifth house. So Mercury and Leo people are great with children. They're like big kids themselves. And children can really enjoy what the Mercury and Leo person brings to the table. Actually, I was thinking if the Mercury and Leo person is a parent, they could make up the best, bedtime stories that they make up on the fly. And if they are teachers, they probably would favor younger ages, I would think, and also do very fun things with storytelling and drama. They might encourage that in the classroom, and the children really resonate with them. Now, here's what's interesting. They make great gamblers. Okay, now this is the point where I say you're on your own here if you hear this and you decide to gamble, because I believe that you have to be careful about that sort of thing. But they also talk about Mercury and Leo having a good poker face. Now, that's surprising to me because sometimes I think that people that are very emotive might actually give themselves away. But if you can play a part, I guess you can play the part of somebody who is acting totally nonchalant when they hold a whatever. I don't know what the term is, flush. I don't know what the poker terms are, the full hand or whatever. So yeah, the fifth house is gambling, and it's also sports. So they make great coaches. But you know what a great coach is? A great coach isn't somebody that berates you and kind of whips you like a dog verbally. It's somebody who motivates you. And if you fail, who says you're going to do better next time, isn't it? I mean, so I think that warmth that Leo generates is what makes it. Now let's talk about afflictions to Mercury. So in other words, hard angles. When we're talking about aspects or angles, we're talking about the distance in degrees between two planets and how that impacts how they interact with one another. So the squares and oppositions are the hard angles, and they cause blockages or just a lot of maybe extremes within the two planets, and there's not an integration. So, for instance, a Mars affliction, like Mercury square or opposing Mars in the natal chart, could be aggression in speech. Aggression, because Mars is the god of war. Hello. But also, because Leo, being that sort of fire sign as well as a fixed sign, they may be stuck on their own little, how would I put it? Stuck into their mode, into their thoughts, attached to their opinions. And they can be kind of aggressive when maybe somebody challenges them. And that's the thing. I mean, if you don't have flexibility of opinion, then it's like your way or the highway. I'm the one that's right. I have all the answers. And then on top of that, the Leo energy, that in the shadow aspect might be egotistical and feeling, superior, arrogant, and that sort of thing. And then there is the affliction, the challenging aspects to Pluto. And this could lead to power plays, the diva attitude. Because to me, Mercury is also your attitude towards life. And if you have hard aspects to Pluto, it could bring out that Leo diva quality or the male equivalent. And that it could definitely be because the person wants to be in control of the situation. But definitely, I think Mercury in Leo is about celebrating life and just speaking in a way that is warm, positive, and larger than life. Taking everyday life and spicing it up. And we need more of that, don't we? Okay, well, if you enjoyed this and you'd like a personal reading, the link is below. Thank you for listening. Bye.